Hello everyone, and today we're going to talk about how you can improve your Gloomhaven playthroughs and gameplay overall. This will fit tabletop version. I have 100+ hours in the tabletop, but also the Gloomhaven Digital on Steam as well, or Tabletop Simulator. So these tips will function on whatever version you're playing Gloomhaven, because we all are fanatics and we love the game. So let's go. So my first tip is don't classify your characters like boom, like if you're playing with someone and play that guy, he's a summoner, and then you think this guy's main point is to summon stuff, and I have to do that. And if you categorize your characters before you even played them, read the cards, or anything like that, some potential might fall away, right? Or for example, oh, Brute, he's the tank, he will take all the damage in the group. But then again, it's not maybe... Oh, he's tanky though. I can give you he's tanky, but he is so much more if you want to fool around a little bit. So, for example, I will show you here. Let's go to my friend Craig Hart, and we go to cards. Like, he's only level 2, so no major spoilers here. So, I do a ranged character of Crackhart, and for this video I'm quite low level because I don't want to do spoilers. So I'm building around backup ammunition, so I can get extra targets, for example Dirt Tornado, Earthen Clod, Massive Boulder, like hilarious stuff like this. But also, if you're more used to Crackhart, you know that he's also really good at creating boulders in game. He's creating obstacles. And okay, small spoiler warning about Crackhart's future abilities. Skip like 10 seconds, and he can push them into obstacles and they take damage or explode those obstacles, etc, etc. So he's really good at crowd control, but I'm playing him as a ranged character that can take a few hits. He has a few really good retaliate cards, and also he's my off healer this early on at least. So you can play him in so many different ways. Don't put a label on the character because they're potential to do so much else. So if you're unsure what is your playstyle and how you want to play them, always lower the difficulty a little bit, because there are over 100 scenarios. You can always crank up the difficulty later. That's tip 1, and you can unskip now. And for tips number 2, remember to like and subscribe to the video or the channel, and of course write down in the comments what is your best tips and tricks for new players. But for my actual suggestion here is, don't burn the cards too early. And also don't waste burning cards. Like, I will show you, it's easier. So we go to my friend Brute, and he has a nice little card like Overwhelming Assault, attack 6, and you get 2 XP. That is pretty darn awesome. And you have a limit hand size. Brute has 10 cards. If you play Mind Chief, also 10. Drag card has 11. But if we throw in, for example, Scoundrel, And we go to her cards. She has 9. And if you waste, for example, you use Smoke Bomb first turn. There is not even any monsters in first room. Okay, most unlikely. But invisible. You're burning the card. Like you see the small icon to the right on the top ability. That means it's out of the game when you use the invisible ability with this one. But you can save yourself until you get exhausted throughout using basic attack and basic movement. That's something that people fail on early on. They think, oh shit, I have to use an ability. I really have to. So they forget to use the basic movement and basic attack. So that's one of the best things I could tell you to do. And also with it, don't burn the cards too early. I will. This is a bonus. With burning cards, you can get with Spellweaver. You can get back burned a lot of cards that's out of the game. But if you use a Reviving Eater, recover all your burned cards. Now those burned cards are out of the game throughout the window. But if you use Reviving Eater when you have like only 2 cards out of the game, no, don't do that. And also, don't save it too late, so you take too much damage and you have to throw Reviving Eater and you die of exhaustion because you forgot to use the ability or you waited too long. So that's one point. Like, don't burn the cards too early. And also think about alternatives. How long can my character last? For example, can only have 8 cards equipped, but due to Reviving Eater, she can always get her cards back once more. So that's really important. And when the hand size is so small, you have to think about using a basic attack and basic movement to live a little bit longer, because you don't want to burn a Reviving Eater 3 turns in. For my third tip, it's a simple one. Look for synergies in your own cards and cards of your party members. Because if you... there are, for example, elements and other abilities that might affect your teammates' cards. So when you, for example, you have a few cards in your hand that create a lot of elements, maybe you have other cards in your card pool can use the said element, and you have your own synergy going on. Or can you buff yourself or other people in your team? For example, I showed you Craighart with the backup ammo. It's simple synergy, but it works. And also, it's not cheating to ask your teammates for help as well. What you can do, some people don't like this, but this is for you in a board game version, because you can see all the cards. I would put all the cards down and see what can I do? Where am I going with this class? Do I see some funky combo? Or do I want to go try hard? Like, that's a really good way to look at the synergies. And you can always use Google. Like, yada yada, Tinkerer build, late game. And you will find a build. Or you can have a build in your mind, and when you play on the digital version, you get the 2 suggestions, And then you, okay, card is closer to what I'm trying to do. The only issue is, if you pick the wrong card and you get a really good card in the end, and that would have fit with the card that came out earlier, and then you're screwed, right? So there's two schools here, and it's always fun to get surprised. But also make sure you kind of enjoy all the benefits. That's my tip. Next one. Tips number 4. Okay, this is so good. Okay. The card is built like attack on top, movement on bottom. Pretty much. That's it. But sometimes you're dirty lucky. And some cards will give you attack on the bottom and movement on top. And I will show you what I'm talking about. And we go to my friend Brute. And let's see, where do we have you? Here, Spear and Dagger. He have a ranged attack on top, but also an attack in the bottom, which means he can do, for example, a skewer or overwhelming assault plus the Spear Dagger, and if he's lucky, he can go over 10 damage in one round. But then we also have a Mind Chief. Where are it? Scary. There we go. 3 movement on top and attack 1. So do you see the crazy movement? Like move 2 heal, then move 3 poke, and with all status effects you can put on your Mind Chief is crazy. And the Mind Chief also have like attack 1, range 2 stun, and it creates frost on the bottom. So it's talking about being versatile with your character. So this is so important to look at what kind of card pool do I have, which cards do I have equipped, and what kind of synergies and what do I try to do. And if you have a movement on top and attack on bottom, you're a little bit more flexible. And rule number 5. Raid the goddamn card. But also, not just that, and also we're talking about coins and experience. So, first off, read your cards properly. Like, for example, Eye for an Eye. Bottom ability, heal 2, range 1. Make some trees. You can also heal yourself. It doesn't specify heal yourself. But you can also heal people around you. Because otherwise it's stated heal self 2 or 1 or whatever. But when it says heal 2, you can also heal yourself and get rid of poison and wounds and such. And it's something good to remember. And then our next thing. The bad guys drop loot and gold coins, but that gold coin have different value depending on the difficulty of that level. So that's also something to put behind your ear. And it's easily to do wrong with the gold outcome. And also about the healing, with the short rest, long rest. How much do I actually heal? And also when you long rest, you get rid of poison, you get no health. But if you're wounded, it gets rid of the wound, but you also get healed. a small nitpicking over there, so put that behind your ear. And about the XP stuff, so you don't have to do everything on the like if he gives you 1 XP and attack 1 and push, you can attack 1 but skip push and still get the XP. So that's also a good thing to think about. You don't have to do everything, but just some part of it. And also, you can't use an XP card or any card in particular, like attack 6, burn the card, and get 2 XP out in thin air. You need to have a target. And you don't get the XP by doing a basic attack or basic movement. You have to do the ability. Next tip. Tip number 6. I know, not many left, but look for proper equipment and potions. Because don't go around naked. I know, naked afraid is all shits and giggles, but you have to put some clothes on. And also, there is no shame to give a brute an invisible cloak. Whoozaa is crazy! But yeah, for example, let's see, what do we have here? I have equipped nothing on my head, but I have a leather armor. I get disadvantage, boots of striding, and minor healing potion. Healing potion is good to get rid of poison and to heal myself, of course, and other shenanigans. And then also, if we look here, cloak of invisibility, poison dagger, try to give them a poison for extra damage when we hit them. And also minor stamina potion, like stuff that can keep you alive longer. About the cloak of invisibility, if you go invisible in a room door, they will get pacified. They won't chase the other people into the next room. Maybe some archers will try to bong you, but when you're invisible in a room door, you are counted as an obstacle, and that can give you some extra advantage and or some time to rest. Next tip. This is a short tip, but tip number 7. Don't be afraid to change the difficulty. As I said earlier, Gloomhaven has tons of scenarios, and you can easily start on an easier difficulty if your friends are new to the game, so they get a good experience and they feel like, oh yeah, I smashed them. They want to continue, and when everything goes well, then you can say, hey dude, let's go hard, and you go up high and you get your ass kicked. But yeah, don't be afraid to fool around with the difficulty settings, both in digital and tabletop version. And yeah, what do you think about that? Are you always pushing the limits, or are you going for the joyride? Or do you want to mix things up depending on your group setup and what you're facing? Next tip. Tip number 8. Initiative. It's all about the initiative in the end. Every card you play, every monster card, they will get an initiative. Closer to 0, they will go quick. Closer to 100, they will be slow. And how you're timing the initiative is win or lose. Quite often, you want to go early on, so you can kill off a few monsters, so you won't take as much damage. But also, if there is equal attack opportunities for the monsters, they okay. I will start over. The monsters will attack the guy, the person that's closest to them, but also the fastest one. So if you are tied with somebody and you have like 2 health and you still go on turn 2 and your friend that's tied in the squares in between the monster and him, he goes slower than you and you fail to kill the monster will attack you. So what I think about the initiative, sometimes I go slow. If I play melee, for example, I might play 1 turn slow, so the monster will approach me, and then I don't have to do all the walking myself. And then I go slow, so he acts first, it gets closer, I can position myself and attack. And then in that way, I get the monster closer to me, then attack. But the follow-up turn, I want to be quick. I attack quickly, and then I remove myself from the monster. And then I don't have to tank the monster or a group of monsters. Depending on a little bit of what kind of class and build you're doing, sometimes you want to take some damage, or you can take some damage. And it can also be the other way around. You want to be quick, you want to go and get in a few hits, and maybe you want to have a low initiative so you can create an element for someone else in the party, because you're working together and they're trying to make a combo. And that's also a little bit on my tip number 9. Communication and collaborate. Who should rest when, and what kind of cards do you guys have? Is there any possibilities to get something working together? Like we did talk a little bit about synergies within our own class, but a group can have some synergies together. For example, if I use a lot of earth element and someone else in the group can create earth element, there we have a synergy. And if you play with yourself, you can pick out the group and have this. Or when you're starting your own group, you can discuss, okay, my cards do this, and if you have picked that card, that will help my synergy as well. And I have this card that can also help you. And what is your role in the group? Like you have this beautiful group, you have everyone picks their character, but sometimes just to make things easy, talk about what is your role in the group itself. Like have this discussion, like how you should act together. It's a little bit like a group work. And tip number 10, the last one. How to push rooms, card size, how many burn cards. So let's take a look here. Now we go. First, a card size. 10 equipped out of 10, 10, 11, and 8. You have to think about how many turns do you survive. If you don't want to count, but there's a max limit on how many cards you can have, and then how many turns you will survive, depending on how many cards you have on your hand. And if you burn those cards, if you burn them, you will probably get exhausted way quickly. And also, quite important, how you push your rooms. Okay, do we have a group here that have a limited card size? We might have to push the rooms. For example, if we had a smaller team, instead of Dragheart, we would have had Scoundrel. She has a smaller hand size. Okay, but we have Scoundrel and Mind Chief and Spellweaver. All three would have had small hand sizes, and they would have to push all these rooms. Which means someone they have to open this door, run here, open up this, and then go back killing. Like, sometimes you have to push some rooms and let them start walking towards you. But you can get screwed if you have like if you face like cultists, so they will summon a swarm of skeletons attacking you. But that's something to think about. Like, when I play Gloomhaven with my group, they know how big the map is, just as in the digital version as well. So they know how much they might be approaching, like monster-wise. And then they can think, okay, how much can I actually waste? But yeah, you can also think about when it comes to burning cards. When there's so many enemies here, is it worth to burn a card to early on get rid of 2 enemies? Because you might have to discard cards because you lose so much health. So sometimes it might be worth to get kill someone early, so you don't take as much damage. But you have to be flexible on that point. But yeah, like a little bit about the initiative as well. You shouldn't always use all. I tend to mix high and low initiatives. So if I want to go slow, I have the possibility to go slow. And if I have to be quick, I still have the possibility to be quick. So timing your cards is also something to think about. And that's all my 10 tips. But bonus tip just for you. Because we spoke about to have the discussion and everything, to have the group dynamic to work out. My last bonus tip is, if you want to understand, you're able to, if you play with your friends at the tabletop, but you want to understand the game better, I can recommend to play Gloomhaven on Steam as well. For example, this is a scenario I'm having here right now. There is no setup time. I just pick and choose my characters. It's easy to set up. You can easily get all starting characters to max level. You get to know the different cards, and you can be the stronger part in your group and help them out if you're beginners. And if you all are experienced players, when you have knowledge about all the different characters, and you can help out with some funky builds, like make it more fun. And you can always play meta, but you can always do something weird and just have tons of fun. Like before, Gloomhaven on Steam, I had never played Brood, never played Spellweaver or Mind Chief, because someone else in the group played them. So I knew kind of what they did, but not really. But I went drag heart and then some other non starter class. I won't spoil, but I had fun with other characters instead. But here I have been cozying up with the starting characters, and I really get to know them. And throughout, they're adding more characters to Gloomhaven Digital, and I've been really enjoying it, the Guildmaster mode as well. I can highly recommend to play Gloomhaven also on Steam, just to get to know the characters on your own, and you can be the leading role and help out your friends if they are trying to get into Gloomhaven, because there are so many rules and so many cards. And if you have had some extra time and just fool around a little bit, get to know the basics with every single character, I can ensure you that your group will have way more fun. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if I helped you out just a little bit, let me know down in the comments. And if you want more Gloomhaven content, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I will also be covering Frosthaven. I know a lot of you are waiting for that as well. But yeah, thank you, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. And good luck with your incoming runs. And if you have any good house rules for your Gloomhaven group, please let me know, because I'm thinking about coming up with some different rules myself. Like you can resummon your summons. They are not burned. Like it just would be fun to be able to play as a decent summoner in the Gloomhaven, and that's a custom rule that I'm thinking about to implement in my tabletop group. What do you think? Is that a good house rule? Thank you, and see you next time.